against in the other matchups, though, is more macro-oriented. And here we go, spawning in the top left-hand corner of Hardlead. We have the American Terran player representing the Cranky Ducklings in this fresh best of 3. It is Dolan. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the American Zerg player representing Team Gosu. It is Reaper. Go. From here, we are getting into the swing of things. Once again, Dolan going for the low ground racks. Now, we have seen him go for 2 racks openers or even just racks into a factory behind this as well. So I'm curious to see how Dolan does open. Meanwhile, back at home, Reaper going for a hatch first. For the first time. We have seen him go for 15 hatch or even 14 hatch openers against Dolan earlier today, but yeah, straight up hatch first instead. I do appreciate it. A much more standard opener here out of Reaper. But even though the opener looks standard, we know better. We do know that it is anything but. Again, Reaper is the cheesiest Zerg player in the Americas. I expect something wild to come out from him. If you remember in the previous series, he went for a proxy, or he went for, proxy hatch against Dolan. We've seen 2 base roach all-ins. What more will you show us? I'm ready for it. Oh my god. As we are going for a proxy factory. You know, of all things that I expected out of this series, this is not one of them. Okay, we have the racks back at home. We have a proxy factory across the map. I imagine for proxy cyclones, this could be a proxy starport behind this as well. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's going to be mass cyclone. Let's go. We have 1 factory across the map. We have 1 factory back at home. I know Migs, I know Vindicta was playing around a lot with Cyclone all-ins in TvZ, and Cyclone all-ins can work. But oh, we do have a Roach Warren here already on the way from Reaper. Staying in gas, going double gas actually, I didn't even notice. But yeah, link speed straight into Roaches. This is going to be an interesting setup here. We should be seeing an add-on swap, and we're going to be making 4 Cyclones at a time. Now, typically, Cyclones, they struggle at times against Zerg because Lings completely shut them down. If you get enough Lings, if you can catch the Cyclones, especially on creep, Cyclones, they melt. They are very fragile units. Against Roaches, though, Cyclones, are going to have a better time. This is also why typically we would see Cyclones in conjunction with Hellions. The Hellions deal with the Lings, the Cyclones deal with everything else. But Reaper's going all in. He's cutting workers very early on. Or Overlord is going to be shut down. It is going to be supply blocking Reaper. We have Roaches already on the way. Link speed as well. And Reaper's going to be sending everything across the map. I favor Reaper here. I do think that Dolan, he's just a little bit disjointed with his army. And this all-in should hit a little bit harder from the Zerg player. But we'll see as the Roaches have been spotted. As Dolan didn't scat at all. He has no idea what's going on. But the Cyclones, they do have the high ground. The boys are being pulled. Ravager gets caught out. We have high ground vision thanks to this Rax as well. Roach is being shut down one after the other, and Reaper was the one caught out instead. We have Lings coming in to reinforce. But with these boys, suddenly this army is that much more potent. Suddenly Lings aren't as much of a hard counter as they otherwise would be. As SCVs are here to tank. That's a lot of Lings on the way. And we're looking for a surround. And here we go, the Cyclones, they will get surrounded. Show us the bars as well. Up! They barely don't get them. But 2-3 Cyclones go down. And this is the problem with Cyclones here against Zerg, is that Lings, they do so well against them. That's why I expected Hellions as well, I'm not gonna lie. So far, so good, though. We are reinforcing. We have 10 more Lings in production. The hatchery is under threat. Marines are going down. And Dolan has to be very careful with his control. He can't go too far into creep, otherwise he will be surrounded. That's why he's being so skittish here. He knows that as soon as Reaper pulls the trigger, he has to back off. get some lock-ons. Decent amount of damage is done. More Ravagers are on the way. Clutch Transfuse keeping the hatchery alive. As we are just amassing more Cyclones, but here we go. The Lings, they dive in. The Biles. Ooh. Will not connect. Clutch Repair on the Cyclone as well. Overlord is going to go down. The Biles. They take down an SCV. But it looks like Dolan, he is breaking through. The Lings are all gone. The Lings are cleaned up, and we will barely clean up these Ravagers. Dolan, he breaks through. The hatchery will go down. Lings come in to support. That one Marine still alive from earlier. Impressive. The repairs are too good. GG gets called, and Dolan will take game number 1. GG. Let's go. Oh, true. I would love to interview Nice and be like, Papi, explain the Glaven Eps. And he's gonna tell me like, oh, someone in the chat dared me to do it. Aye. Not like this. Not like this, Nice. I would love to ask him. As with that, Dolan does take a lead in this series, but now we're getting into game number 2. Game number 2. Here we go. Okay, I'm not too familiar with what the vetoes are. Oh. Okay, we're good. Looks like we just had some connection issues, but we're back. Just ask him Buddha before he can answer. We have to just leave the mystery, you know. We can't know the truth. If we do, it just takes away. It just takes away from the build. Oh. I'm messaging Nice. Alright, here we go. We're getting into it. Alright. As the lobby has been made and we are getting into game number 2. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of side Delta, we have the American Zerg player representing Team Gosu down in this series, but not out, not by a long shot. It is Reaper. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the American Terran. He is one of our own. He is representing the Cranky Ducklings. It is Dolan. Oh boy. And again, it's been a pretty intense round of games already here. The Mass Cyclone, the Proxy Factory, actually coming in clutch there towards the end for Dolan. Actually working here against Reaper as well. But the reality, what kind of rush are we getting into now? That's the real question. That's the real question. Hatch first out of Reaper, important to take note of. Likewise, Dolan setting up for a Rex expand. This time a Rex on the high ground, not on the low ground. Important to point that out. Oh, and we're just settling into our openers. Again, nothing too fancy, nothing too aggressive this time. But clearly we need to keep our eye on our players. Clearly. Yeah. But yeah, the proxy factory or the mass cyclone in that last game was brutal. It felt very clutch though. It felt very close. Reaper was almost able to surround multiple times, not just surround but also connect with those biles. Imagine if he had a couple more lings. Imagine if he wasn't caught out in the center of the map as well. If you remember, 2 roaches and 1 ravager went down for free at the start of the game, and that could have been the difference there. That could have been the difference of actually defending or not for Reaper. Was very close. Very close in the end. As yeah, Dolan's just going for a rack expand into a factory. Everything here is looking normal, at least to begin with. Reaper, I imagine because he's been having a hard time keeping these overlords alive, he does send his overlord out towards the edge of the map first before coming in for a scout. I do appreciate it. Oh, Reaper comes in, the surround! That should not have happened. The Reaper does go down, and as soon as it goes down, the Roach Warren is thrown down for Reaper. That was a confusing sentence. The Reaper goes down, and the Reaper throws down shaking my head. But yeah, now that the scout has been denied from Dolan, Reaper is free to do whatever he wants. He throws down the Roach Warren, throws down a second gas geyser, and Dolan is in the dark. Imagine calling yourself Reaper and not being Terran. That's shaking me. Shaking my head. As we have a 1-1-1 opener. Okay, a very safe opener here out of Dolan. I say safe, very aggressive actually. I guess both. Essentially, there's going to be a lot of pressure on Dolan to get damage done to justify not having a third if this was a longer macro game. But because Reaper is rushing into Lings and Roaches and Reaper is cutting workers here at 26, this will actually help a lot here in the defense, as we should be working towards Banshees. And Banshees... oh my god, never mind. I was going to say that Banshees are going to be king because nothing shoots up. They can deal with the Roaches, the Ravagers, and the Lings, but we are going into a Liberator instead. And here we go, the Roaches, they have been spotted. They have been confirmed. Ravagers are on the way. Immediately, we cancel the Liberator. We start up a Banshee. A little bit unfortunate. This Banshee would be almost halfway done at this point if we had started it immediately. Bunkers are on the way, but the Lings are here. Boys are being pulled. The Hellions, they barely do hold on. One of them goes down. And the other 3 will hold. But the Roaches are arriving. Oh, and Dolan doesn't have too much time here to set up a defense. Yeah, he evacuates the natural base. These bunkers have to be cancelled. Holding the low ground is not going to be a possibility here. Cyclones, they get some lock-ons, but they're going to be going down one after the other. The wall is not a wall, and Reaper, he floods into the main. There's nothing else on the way, nothing else in production. We have 1 Banshee, and that is all that Dolan has. The wall is going to be knocked down. And now we can bust into the mineral line. We do get a full surround. We do get some decent damage done on those Ravagers. But Lings, the Lings just wreaking havoc here. Getting every single worker, every single SCV. The Biles! Oof, the Bile connects as well. GG gets called, and Reaper will take game number 2, tying up the series 1-1. GG. GG, well played. Again, just an unfortunate setup there. Oh my god. Okay. Oh, no shot, Pappy. Alright. I have an answer. I hope the people that are curious are in the chat. Deep Value, Overages as well. I hope you're ready for this. I had a short conversation with Nice, and I have an answer. I have an answer for you. I was asking you, I was like, I was asking him, Bappy, the people, we want to know what's with the glaives. What's with the glaives build? He's like, glaives? What's glaives? What? I don't know what that is. I'm like, oh, it's the adept upgrade. He's like, oh, I understand. Oh, okay. I'm like, yeah, like why are you doing it? He's like, I thought it was funny. He's like, it looks strong, and I'm testing it out. It's funny, don't you think? I'm like, lol. It is. It's hilarious. I love it. It's great. And there you go. Now you know the logic. And that's more or less what I assumed. And here we go, spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Hecate, we have the American Zerg player representing Team Gosu. It is Reaper. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the American Terran player representing the Cranky Ducklings. It is Dolan. Oh, good. All right, I don't want to take away from this series. Yeah, we're in the ace match. We're tied up 1-1. We're diving into game number 3. Question becomes, when do we throw down the Roach Warren? Again, a lot of this did come down to the fact that Dolan did lose his first Reaper. He did lose his first Reaper, and that allowed Reaper to get away with his hidden tech, and Dolan was caught off guard. Dolan was caught with his pants down and wasn't able to react in time, wasn't able to set up in time for the eventual all-in. And we'll see if Reaper can once again keep his build hidden, or if Dolan can come across it, as he is going to be opening up Rax Expand and is making a Reaper first. SCV Scout coming across the map as well. Again, I feel like this is very crucial against Reaper. We mentioned before, but Reaper, he is a very aggressive and very cheesy player, so you do need to keep an eye on him, as Dolan does confirm the hatch timing. Oh boy. Just keeping an eye on chat. Just keeping an eye on chat. Reaper, yo, we taking a third base? No shot. Are we playing standard? The Reaper arrives. We're going to be looking to punish some of these drones as well, if possible. So far, one of them is going to... Oh my god, we do try to look the Reaper in, but alas, Reaper does manage to escape the clutches here of these drones. Queen comes out, one shot, and even without the Queen, the Reaper does go down. A bit of a blunder there from Dolan. He's going to lack scouting information, and Reaper, he does throw down a third base, but that is a very fast Baneling nest. Reaper is going for a Bane Bust. This third is not for droning, this third is for larva. So he's just going to mass lings, send everything across the map, and bust his opponent. Dolan is in the dark. Aye. So far, here we go. We have 14 lings in production. Reaper just going to be banking up nothing but lings here at the natural base. Dolan, again, has no idea what's going on. He does have a safety bunker on the way. He went for a 1-1-1 opener himself. Hellions are moving out. Oh, but can Dolan get a read on what exactly is going on? The lings are going to be going the long way around. They're going to be avoiding said Hellions. And there's very little to scout here back at home. As Dolan does not commit, he does not go in. There we go, the Banelings are on the way. 8 Banelings in total. And Dolan, he does turn back around with those Hellions. He has one bunker. He's going into BCs. We can't afford that, Bappy. We can't wait that long. The BCs are not going to come into play. The Banelings are going to be waddling on in. The Lings do reveal themselves. We do have a lot of Hellions. Oh my god. We have a mass amount of Hellions here. The wall is up. Up. But the wall does go down. The Lings flood in, but Hellions, they should deal with this. They should completely clean this up. And that is the end of the Bane Bust. Aye. Dolan turning back just in time, opted not to go into Cyclones, and he will get into that battle cruiser. I was really concerned that the Hellions were going to get caught out, but a really good reaction out of Dolan. He does pull back in time, and now Reaper is in a terrible position here. Things are not looking good. He's throwing down additional gases. He's going for a lair. This could be for mutas. That would make sense. but the Bane Bust didn't get any economic damage whatsoever. The workers survived. The bunker went down. I'm sorry, the depot went down, sure, but yeah, Dolan's just going straight for a third CC. And the fusion core has not been scattered. Reaper has no idea what is going on. We're getting into mech. That's an armory on the way. Soon to be a second factory as well. Why is there a Spider-Man discussion in the chat? I did need to finish Spider-Man at some point. I did get the first game, and we played it on stream. One day I'll finish it. One day. Back at home, we do have Reaper setting up all of said spore crawlers. Should be fine against these Banshees. There is that Spire on the way, as you mentioned before. Does make sense here based on the tech of choice of Reaper. He doesn't have the best economy, but he's rushing into that Spire. Meanwhile, here come the Hellions! And here comes the first BC as well. And Reaper is not ready for this. The Hellbats are morphed in. The Banelings are now on the way. BC does teleport onto the front lines. And after the failed all-in, Reaper just does not have much left to defend. He has 2 queens to his name. 2 queens and 1 spawn each mineral line. That is his anti-air. And Dolan, he busts on in. He's snowballing out of control. The Lynx are doing what they can, but against Hellbats, they just melt. From here, the Spire, can it finish? It will not finish. GG gets called. And Dolan will take the series 2-1, advancing on to the grand finals. GG. GG, well played. Again, very fortunate that Dolan had happened to be going for a 1-1-1 as well. A very safe opener, that he had his Hellions back at home. I was really concerned that he was going to be caught out on the map, or caught away from his bases, but he was able to get back home in time to deal with the Lingbane, to clean up the army, and to get into his follow-up as well. GG. My condolences to Reaper. He did well for himself making it this far. And 2 series in a row. He went to the ace match. He went all the way to game 3 against Dolan. So very impressive. Barely didn't take the series in the end. But I hope to see more of Reaper in the coming weeks. You know, I do always appreciate casting Reaper. He's a very entertaining player to watch. And yeah, a good supporter of the channel as well. GG. Well played. My condolences to Reaper. Congratulations to Dolan. Congratulations. As we are going to be getting ready for our grand finals. Up next is this time a best of 5. Best of 5 between Dolan and Nice.